everybody, and this is the Limitless podcast with Westside and me, Sameera Reddy. And we always try to bring to you stories that inspire, motivate, but most important, they're real stories. And today's guest is somebody that I'm thrilled to be speaking to because I'm pretty sure I'm going to get seriously motivated by her. I already am by her story. She's India's first wheelchair using model. She's a motivational speaker. She is a disability rights activist. You know, an accident changed her life forever when she was a teen. But like a phoenix rising from the ashes, this woman has built herself up. And not only that, she uses her platform to advocate for disability rights and anybody facing these challenges. And I am so happy today to be speaking to the one and only Virali Modi. Welcome to the show. Hi.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm a huge fan and I am just so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me. And
No, we're
this is
thrilled
just
to have you. Oh my
amazing.
God, we're thrilled. I think Virali, especially in the beauty industry, that I've been such a big part of, I can tell you that inclusivity has not been there. This was at least what it was like before. When you were somewhat a little different, people used to immediately judge you for it, which
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure it still exists.
Oh, yeah, definitely does.
But I feel thanks to social media, and I thank social media for this. Inclusivity has become something that you can't run away from. In fact, you'll be cancelled if you're not inclusive.
True, very true.
And here you are, modeling.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes, I'm blessed and I'm so happy. I'm just glad that there is finally some representation.
People obviously expect someone like you to maybe buckle down and not fight through all the judgment.
Yes.
And your story is something which is uniquely different. You were not born paralyzed.
Right.
This happened to you at the age of 15.
Yes.
First of all, my God, as a teen, to be hit with something like this, could you just tell us what the whole story is and how did this happen?
So I was raised in the US. I was born in Mumbai, raised in the US. And at the age of 14, I decided to come to India alone to visit my extended family. After staying here for about a month and a half during the monsoon, I came back to America. And I was just about to start my 10th standard in the US. And about 2-3 weeks before I had to start, I suddenly started getting the symptoms of malaria. So I was having a very bad headache. I was getting fevers, feeling cold, feeling hot suddenly. So my parents decided to take me to my pediatrician. He said it was a seasonal fever. Just take a paracetamol, you'll be fine. I take the medication, but my fevers kept skyrocketing. So I mean, to 103 degrees Fahrenheit, okay? Mm-hmm. We went to the emergency room and they did all of their normal testing. You won't believe this, but everything was negative. They even tested for malaria. It was negative. They did a spinal tap. So that's when they take a needle, insert it into the spine, withdraw CSF. That was also negative. So I went back home and I fell asleep. And the next morning, my mom comes and she wakes me up. And suddenly I start hallucinating. I cannot even recognize my mom. I keep telling her that you've kidnapped me and you need to take me back home. I don't know who you are. I fall asleep and my grandmother comes. She wakes me up and I'm totally normal. I am greeting her, I'm talking to her, I am just Virali, right? Suddenly, my mom is like, we need to take you to the emergency room, something's wrong. I get up and as soon as I start walking, I'm limping. And the biggest thing about me is I used to be a dancer. I was practicing Bharatnatyam at that point of time. So for me to suddenly lose the ability to walk, it's breathtaking, right?
Yeah.
I go to the washroom and I just can't use the washroom anymore. So we rush back to the emergency room. They transfer me to a bigger hospital and they do an MRI. And that was also normal. It was inconclusive. They thought that there might be a shadow in the back of my neck. It was speculation. They take me into the testing room to do another spinal tap. And as soon as they did the procedure, they turned me on my back. I had a seizure. and my blood pressure skyrocketed to over 200, and I vomited. Half of the vomit went into my lungs, which caused respiratory arrest, which led to cardiac arrest. So I was declared dead for 7 minutes, just laying there on the testing table. They had to shock my heart back. So they used the defibrillator. They shocked my heart back after 3 attempts. And they couldn't get my breathing back. So I was on a ventilator. And I was transferred into the ICU. And that evening, I came into consciousness. But the next day, they did another spinal tap, just a test again for CSF. And I went into a coma. I was in a coma for 23 days, during which I was declared dead 2 more times. So 3 times in total. And the doctors had given up hope. They said that I would not survive this, that I was a gone case. So on the 21st of September, they had a meeting with my parents and they just said that Virali nahi bachegi. She's not going to survive and we want to pull the plug on her ventilator. They basically wanted to kill me. They didn't want to give me a fighting chance. And I just want to say something about my parents. I am the only child. So my dad has a very soft corner for me. My dad was a crying mess at that point of time, that he just thought that he lost me. And my mother, she was the strong one. So she always had this hope that, nay, my daughter is going to survive this.
It's a mother's instinct.
Yeah. So that day, when the doctor said this, my mom fell to the floor and she grabbed the doctors by their legs. She shook them and she started crying. और वो इतना रोई है कि उनके जूते गिल्ले कर दिए. And she just said, no, my daughter's 15th birthday is coming up on the 29th of September. And I know that she's going to survive this. Like, keep her alive until then. I want to celebrate her birthday. Because I know for a fact कि जब वो कोमा में से बाहर आएगी ना, she's going to ask me, like, what happened to my 15th birthday, just like the teenager that she is. So I want to show her proof that I celebrated her birthday. Doctors को लगा यार ये पागल हो गई है. Like, what is she talking about, right? So they went to the Dean of Medicine. They got the permission. लेकिन एक ही condition पे. And the condition was कि अगर 29th को विराली नहीं कोमा से बाहर आती, तो we will pull the plug on the ventilator. And my mom signed the consent form that day. So on the 29th of September, my dad and my mom, they invited like 80 people, all of my family members. Like, पूरा कमरा सजाया था, like a 7-year-old's birthday party, right? And they had a cake and they kept the cake on my tummy. And my dad took my hand. And everyone is surrounding my bed singing happy birthday. और जैसे केक काटा, I opened my eyes.
It's incredible. I was in shock when I read that. That's insane.
कमाल की बात तो ये है कि my mom looked at the clock and the clock read 3:05 p.m. And that's the exact time that I was born. So for
Goosebumps, Virali, goosebumps. I swear, as a mother, when I read that, I cannot tell you there were tears in my eyes because I can't even imagine her conviction and her strength and the coincidence with the fact that you woke up out of coma on the time of your birth, the actual time of birth. But it gets even scarier and more coincidental.
It does. I went back into a coma after 40 minutes and the doctors are like, nahi, nahi, theek ho jayega. Don't worry, it's fine. So they took me into the OR to do an operation like on my neck. And as soon as I came out of the OR, anesthesia wore off. I came out of the coma on the 5th of October. And the coincidence is that my original due date was the 5th of October.
It's like something out of a movie here. But I cannot even tell you what kind of conviction and spiritual connection this all has. And I guess for a mother to have that much strength, and from what I've read, your mother was a very, very strong figure in your life.
Yes.
And she has been that one person who has really held you through everything. So I have to say, like, I guess we all owe her a big thank you for fighting with those doctors and making sure that, they didn't pull that plug, because, I mean, it would have been horrific if that happened.
It would have been devastating.
Yeah. And here you are today.
Exactly. I'm talking to you.
I cannot even believe it. I'm telling you, I feel so lucky and I feel honored to have you on the Limitless podcast, because Virali, life is fragile. And there are so many people out there who have different kind of stories and they give up so easily. And here I am listening to you and your mother, who not only fought for you, but post this very, very, intense situation, and you come home. Now, this is the sad part of, after climbed that hill and cheated death, if I may put it,
Yes.
you come home to the fact that you are ostracized.
Well, I was paralyzed from the neck down.
And
right?
that was already so hard.
It was hard, but that's the weird thing. I was raised in a home that, like, the word impossible never existed in my dictionary. Like, giving up was never a part of my repertoire. So when I came home and I tried contacting my friends, because again, a social life is so important, I contacted my extended family and they shunned me because I was in a vegetative state. And they said, ये बोझ है, ये बोझ बनकर ही रहेगी. She will never amount to anything. And we don't want to hang out with you because you're a burden. And at that point of time, I kind of just felt like, is my worth all tied to the fact that I can't walk anymore? Like, to my wheelchair? Like, is that all I'm good for? And that led me to depression. And I tried committing suicide twice because I believed that I didn't deserve to live. मेरी कोई value ही नहीं है. Am I not worthy of this life? So I remember after coming out of the hospital after the second attempt, I was sitting on the floor and I was crying and I was just telling my mother कि मुझे नहीं जीना है, कि why did you save me? You should have just let me die. I'm good for nothing. And that's why she was coddling me. And suddenly she just stopped. And she just said, like, तेरा हो गया नाटक.
Tough love.
Tough love. Are you done with your drama? Are you done throwing a tantrum? And I just looked at her. I was like, what are you saying? Why are you saying this? She's like, no, tell me. By doing all of this, kisko farak pada? Like, did they care? No, right? Who was actually affected by all of this? Your mom, your dad, and you, right? First of all, stop believing what they're saying. Whatever they're saying does not define who you are. You need to understand how to love yourself. Love yourself so much कि आगे जाके ना, you don't even care about those people. You won't even need them. You can sit in a coffee shop alone, drinking a coffee by yourself, and not caring in the world that you have friends or you don't. You need to get up to that level. And once you do, no words will hurt
Virali,
you.
this thing that you're saying, I wish there was a way to get this message across to so many young teens. Today, you've been put in a situation which was very unique. It was something that you had no choice with. There are so many young teens out there who have choices, who don't have disabilities. But do you know that they're feeling the same way as how you felt? The self-worth, and I think, it's something that I feel should be inculcated in kids much earlier on, is exactly what your mother told you to do, which is live your life, focus on yourself, feel complete within yourself, and stop looking for love and acceptance from outsiders. But again, as I said, there are so many young people listening, their parents the youngsters out there who I feel need to listen to this and know that this is one of the strongest exercises you can do to help somebody through the years.
Yeah.
And that's what your mom did for you. And which is amazing, because from there started this incredible journey of modeling. Again, I'm saying in a country like India, my God, how did that happen?
I always wanted to be a model. I always wanted to be an actress ever since a young
And you're
age.
gorgeous, and we're lucky to have you in the industry. So
Thank
I'm
you.
thrilled.
Thank you. So in 2014, I actually participated in the Miss Wheelchair India pageant where I won second place. I went on to give auditions. That never worked out because, again, the disability, right? So I put all of that in the back burner. And in 2017, I had the wonderful opportunity of working with Salman Khan, and I modeled for Being Human.
Wow.
And from that point on, it just kind of was a domino effect. I've done two ramp shows. I've been the showstopper. I've modeled for lingerie. I've just these amazing brands that I've worked with. And again, I've been using my social media to kind of just portray that we need representation in mainstream media for people with disabilities because clothing on mannequins don't look the same on me. So I would want representation. I would want to see somebody who looks like me in a wheelchair so I can better judge. And I believe that every kind of person deserves representation, any kind of disability. We need to be more diverse and we need to have more inclusivity.
But do you think India has the right tools for, say, accessibility to different spaces for the disabled? Because I don't think so at
Yeah,
all.
no, they don't.
You
They
know,
don't. We need to do better.
and I feel internationally, especially when, I mean, I've traveled and I've seen that they have ramps everywhere. And there is so much thought process behind making sure everything is easily accessible. I don't see that in India at all. And I noticed that, in fact, somebody recently, when I was doing research for our chat, somebody said, oh, we do have ramps at shopping malls here, but it's for shopping carts. And I was like, okay. So you're saying it was built for shopping carts. And then as a second thought, it's somebody who's disabled, in a wheelchair could use it. That was really surprising and extremely, like, I feel in a country like ours today that's really trying to make change. Do you feel, and from what I see, you started that, right? Which is you started a lot of campaigns
Yes.
driving this. Do you see any change with that?
See, I'll tell you one thing. There is change, but not enough. I think what people don't understand is everyone is temporarily abled. One day you're going to need a wheelchair, crutches, a walker, a cane, whatever. And that point of time, when you are stuck at your home and you can't get out of your house because of inaccessibility, you can't come in crib and say, यार India accessible नहीं है. जब आपके पास टाइम था तब you didn't do anything about it. It's not only my responsibility or it's not only the responsibility of other people with disabilities to come out and advocate for accessibility. It is yours too. Because ultimately, either your friend, either your family member, or either your neighbor, they're going to need a wheelchair. So what are you going to do? Are you just going to be quiet? You can't. You have to
Absolutely.
raise your voice about creating change because without change, we're stagnant. And in stagnant water, what do you get? Disease. So we need to talk about
About
it.
this, yeah. Something that sort of little bit surprised me is when I read that you were in a few abusive relationships. And I said, wait a minute, when she has achieved, your mother has pushed you to those limits of getting past your pain. And I say this because I see a lot of women do this. I've done it in the past where I've allowed people to walk over me. It's taken me a lot to get to this point, a lot of pain, a lot of learning. And I think a lot of us do it. I always ask why. Why do we allow somebody else to hurt us? Is because we feel less, and then that becomes a sort of a chain that you cannot break, and you feel the only way you can be loved if someone doesn't treat you right. Why did you allow that with yourself?
I was always made to believe that I would not be loved by someone because of my disability or because I wasn't a good enough person. So, whoever I found who wanted to be with me, I accepted that. These men, they told me that, मेरे से अच्छा कोई नहीं मिलेगा. Who's going to love you? I am accepting of your flaws. And through that, I was physically abused. I was mentally abused. I was emotionally abused. And I let that happen because I believed that. Because I thought, who would want to date someone with a disability, right? Like, you can find so many better girls walking. Again, I devalued myself.
But
I,
so many young girls are doing that
exactly.
who are not even in your position. And this is what I'm trying to say this in this podcast. I want to bring this to the forefront because it hurts me. It hurts me and it pains me to see that we put ourselves through this. You had the choice, but you got out of those relationships, which I always say, get out of something which is bad for you because something good is coming. But nobody has that belief. And then they stay in these relationships because they feel they cannot do better. And you have this one life. And in this life, you are wasting time being with somebody who does not value you. In fact, I think that the person abusing you is the one who's most scared. And they are keeping you in that power because they are scared about what will happen if you leave.
Yes,
And you're
agree.
giving them the power, right? You got out of it and you moved on past that. And today you are engaged to be married to this lovely guy.
Yeah.
Again, I read about the fact that you swiped left and right on a dating app,
Yeah.
which I didn't understand because I don't know much about dating apps. but that's amazing.
Yeah, I met Kshitij on a dating app. He right swiped me. We started talking.
He right swiped me.
He did. He
I
did right
love that.
swipe
I
me.
love it because I don't understand it.
So it's like
You need to show me this dating app after. Not that I want to get on it, but I've never seen a dating app. Can you believe
so
that?
right swipe is like basically, oh, I like your profile and like I want to talk to you. And so before like I right swipe him, I see his profile and I'm like, अच्छा ये अच्छा लग रहा है बंदा, ठीक है, I'll right swipe him so we connect. If I left swipe him, I am declining his request.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I kept him waiting for a week. We connected finally, and we just hit it off from the word hello. And within 10 days, we're like, yeah, I think it's you. We want to start dating. Like, let's just see how it goes. And within a month, I kind of proposed. Like, I didn't propose. I kind of forced him to marry me.
It's okay. I've also
Yeah.
done that, so it's okay.
Yeah.
I've done that with my husband.
I threatened him is a better way to say
He's
that.
going to thank you later. It's fine.
Oh,
Akshay
yeah,
still
yeah.
thanks me now, so it's
Yeah.
okay.
No, he's thanking me now. So I think about 3 months into the relationship, I met his mother, and Kshitij was just like, telling his mom, like, I'm just introducing you. This is not, an official meeting. Like, don't talk about marriage or anything. And I think within 5 minutes of the conversation, she's like, Acha, shadi kab kar rahe ho?
All right. That's awesome. I love that. Because in India, especially with Indian families, one would have expected somebody to say something. And she just sounds like, I mean, an amazing woman, your
Oh,
to-be
yeah.
mother-in-law.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the family is something that today we need families like this that understand that this is more important than anything in the world. I'm so happy for you. Okay, I'm
Thank
just happy
you.
because I feel, and I'm going to come to this point, which is a very emotional part. The reason I didn't want to bring that up before is because I felt I wanted to let the listeners know that we have a beautiful space today where you found that person and you are complete within yourself, which is thanks to your mother's blessings and your mother's teachings that
Yes.
you went through the pain, you fought through that, you advocated for disability, you're a beautiful model. And then the person who did, who stands for you in every way, is very emotional for me, is your mother, who then got diagnosed with cancer in 2018.
Yes. My heart broke when I found out that she had cancer. My heart broke. But at the same time, I knew that I needed to be what she was for me. I needed to be her rock and I needed to be her strength. So we took the decision to go back to the US, my mom and I, and, get her treatment done there. I stayed with her for 1 month during her chemo. And that's when I realized that despite going through something so painful, she still wanted to care for me. And I didn't want her to do that. So I decided that I should move back to India. I should learn how to be fully independent and it was never an if, it was when she survives or when she goes through this, I am going to need to be her caretaker. And that's the least that I could do for whatever she's done for me. And that if never came, like if she wouldn't survive, that never happened. But in 2019, my mom passed away from cancer. And it's sad because I was there during her last days. Like she called me and she said, I need you to come here. And I didn't know the extent of her situation. I saw her last breath. So for me, it was extremely heartbreaking. I had to put up a fake front and to be strong for my father because he is a very emotional person. But after coming back to India and staying alone, I've been living alone without a caretaker. I manage everything by myself. I cook, I clean, I do everything. And now I've just come to this point where, yeah, I'm so independent now. And it's all thanks to my mom. Because even though she passed away, she's left me with so many learnings and so many happy moments that I just look back on. And her strength is what keeps me going. She is my spine. Meri reed ki haddi hai wo. And I would not be this person without her.
That's amazing. I can't even imagine how hard it must have been for you and your dad. Uh, but I think what's really incredible is that you immediately pushed your father to move on.
On the day of my mom's funeral, after cremating her, I had a very emotional talk with my dad. And I said, this is the first and last time that I'm going to say this to you. And I'm saying it by putting a stone on my heart. You should get remarried if you want to. Okay, because I don't want you to stay alone. I know that you will not come back to India with me. And living alone, you're going to kill yourself. And Dad said no. And I respected his wishes. Obviously, it was maybe very too soon. But I think 7 months down the line, my dad was like, yeah, I think you're right. Maybe I should get remarried. So I created his profile on an online matrimonial site.
That's very sweet. Oh, God.
So basically, I was like right swiping, left swiping girls.
Here we go
for my
again, right
dad.
swiping and left swiping.
So yeah, I was that setting up my dad with like potential mothers and everything. And we finally found one person that I really loved and that my dad really loved. And I remember having a conversation with her and I was like, yep, this is the one. This is my stepmother.
Oh.
And yeah, they've been married for, I think, two years now. 2 years they've been married. And this is the funniest thing, right? Like, my mom left this world, but she sent two brilliant women into my life who've become the wind beneath my wings and who've become my rock. And
Which is your stepmother.
my stepmother and my
your
mother-in-law.
Oh my God. Okay. We're back to mother-in-laws here. We were just talking about how, mom-in-laws can, if you make them your wingman or wingwoman,
Yeah.
life can really change. It changes
Yes.
for the better. And I think having a great relationship with your mother-in-law, I mean, I have sassy Sasu with me.
I
Can-
love your sassy sassy.
It really becomes, you become like a team.
Yes.
I think in Indian families, sometimes, they glamorize this, sort of that big tikka and that sort of, that's
Oh God,
fight going on
the
within the
whole
houses.
vamp thing.
Yeah. That's why I said it's so lovely when I hear this, that the relationship with your mother-in-law is almost like your mom, as you said, made sure you have amazing women in your life. I
Oh,
mean,
yes.
and if you go back to the spiritual part or maybe the connection of the time where you survived because of her conviction, because of that due date, the coincidence.
Yeah.
And you look at all those different points, like she's always been with you and she's still with you, watching over
She
you.
is.
And,
She is.
And here you are, Virali. This has been one of the most heartwarming podcasts that I've done, because I say this even to my children, which is live your life to the fullest. And I tell this to my son, who's now at that point where even he gets, a little flustered when somebody says something to him, or he's just, sort of turning into that little man. And I keep telling him, don't get into what people, people judging you. Life is fragile. These are moments, and you have to just power through them all. You have to just make sure that you protect yourself and you're very, very secure with yourself. And you're like the beacon of that. You're literally in this wheelchair, but I swear, when I talk to you, it's like I'm looking at your pretty face. I'm looking at your energy. I'm feeling your vibe. And that's the thing, right? When you meet a person and you feel their aura and you feel their existence, that's what you are.
That's all you are.
You are the
That's all
shining
you are.
light. And I hope today you guys have loved this podcast, because I have. You are limitless, Virali.
Thank
and
you.
I want everyone to feel that power with you. Before leaving this wonderful podcast, first of all, thank you for being so open with us.
Oh, thank you.
You're modeling, but I think you should become an actress.
I would love to. I would love to become an actress.
I see you doing a lot of cool roles. If you'd like to do a dream role, what would it be? Because if someone's listening out there, we have Virali right here waiting.
I would totally love to patao a guy.
Patao guy, I like that word. I see you doing like a really Nautang song with Salu bhai.
Oh my God, I would. So Ranveer Singh is like, I've met him, and he is just like, he is that person that I would want to work with, just because his energy is just so infectious, right? I would totally love to romance him. Like,
Oh,
I would love that.
I like that. I like that. Are you listening, guys? Kshitij, don't mind this, but yeah, we're taking Virali to the movies.
Please.
I'm so happy to have you. And this has been a lovely interaction. I wish you
Thank
all the
you.
best.
Thank you.
And thank you, everyone, for listening to the Limitless podcast with Virali Modi and me, Sameera Reddy. And till we meet again, take care.